Here we go. Alright, hey guys, welcome. So we are going to be going through the new massive major design changes for the balance test map for the SC2 multiplayer. So we've got them up here right on screen, and let's talk you guys through them real quickly, and then we'll go into game. I've got a game ready. You can already hear game noises in the background, and I will show off some of these things. So first things first, for Terran changes, the Raven, the repair drone, has a radius increase from 4 to 6, gives it a little bit more utility. It's already quite a powerful ability. It heals a lot. Shredder Missile Mover, initial pause duration decreased from 2.9 to 1.4. So basically the Shredder Missile will fire in about half the time. It was useless before because it's a very low impact spell. I'm gonna fucking... Yeah. Let's turn that game noise off real quick. Those oracles are annoying. So, yeah, the Shredder Missile, it just was useless before. Now it's actually going to be useful. We can see if this is worthwhile. Remember, the guys, Shredder Missile only does about 30 damage, which is not massive. So it does about 30 damage, but it does an armor modifier of like -3 or -4 armor, which is kind of nice. Scrambler Missile can now affect not only mechanical, but also psionic units. So this is important because this allows Scrambler Missiles to actually hit Queens and Infestors as well, and not just the stuff they were hitting before. So if we hop into game, we can immediately actually take a look at that. So I got a bunch of Ravens here. I can now hit psionic units, which actually Oracles count as psionic as well. Well, they were already mechanical, so it doesn't matter. So Infestors can now be scrambled. Queens can now be scrambled. Vipers can now be scrambled. So this simply allows your Ravens to disable Zerg spellcasters and Queens, whereas previously they couldn't do anything to them. There was absolutely nothing you could do to actually use that ability on Zerg units at all. So that's kind of cute. Now the repair drone radius is now bigger. You're going to notice it can heal 6 range. So it can heal this Raven all the way up here. Yeah. Whereas before it had to be about where this Raven's standing here. So it's kind of nice. It's just like a little thing. And you can see it does heal reasonably fast. The repair drone uses up its energy quite slowly. So these are an efficient way to heal up an army, but it's still not really a massive combat ability. The repair drone's more of a let's just be efficient over time. And definitely an ability which, while interesting, I am worried a little bit if Turtle Styles become powerful again, that this will be the spell, which is like, yay, free healing, look at my efficiency. Luckily though, we won't see that in Zerg vs Terran, which is one of the matchups where it happened a lot in the past, simply because there's no more Seeker Missile, there's no more Point Defense Drone, and Scrambler Missile, can't use that on Broodlords, can't use it on Ultralisks. Other than that, the Mule changed, guys. They've reverted the Mule change. Check it, you can no longer drop Mules on gas. It's just giving me that little cancel icon. You can, however, drop Mules on Minerals, and they are no longer nerfed. Before, they had lowered the mineral mining from 25 to 20. It was a direct nerf to Bio, standard Terran play. They've reverted this and said, look, you can have your Mule back. We don't need to nerf Terran Bio. It was a little bit of a slack nerf before. So each time these Mules will bring back the full 25 minerals a load. That's it for the Terran changes. Let's take a look at the other ones. Let's take a look at those. So next changes are going to be Protoss Oracle. Now this is obviously a really big point. Let me just... okay. Stasis Ward will no longer affect eggs or lava. Alright, okay. This is actually really huge. This is something people kind of made fun of me about because I kept making a big deal about it. But with Stasis Ward Harass, with this mass Oracle style that's been happening against Zerg, one of the big things that would happen, not every game, but some games, is the Protoss would just run up, throw down a Stasis Ward, and it would happen to trap a bunch of Overlords that were about to pop out of eggs, and they would just be frozen. So rather than just trapping a few drones, delaying some mining, maybe slowing a few Zerglings from popping, stopping a Queen from injecting, the Stasis Ward would actually cause an entire, like, every single base would have its production disrupted. Sometimes you'd get 3-4 Overlords blocked in there, and it would just ruin the Zerg's production. So Stasis Ward was way too powerful because of that, and I think this is a really, really cool change from the balance team, saying, look, this isn't going to affect eggs or lava anymore. You want to use Stasis Ward Harass, you're going to use this only on drones, on Queens, that sort of thing. Now, there's also a timed life duration on the Stasis Ward, so they don't just last infinitely, which is fantastic. We've seen Scarlet build about 35 Oracles, and cover the map in Stasis Wards just to buy time for her to make endless carriers. Looked really stupid. Rotterdam voiced his displeasure quite vocally about it. I believe Todd did as well. And thankfully, we are getting a timed life. 170 seconds, that's almost 3 minutes. That is an eternity in StarCraft time anyway, so that's still a very powerful spell. But at least it just stops you from banking up Stasis Wards over an entire game that never run out. Past that, Pulsar Beam weapon changed from spell to normal damage. Now that means armor will now reduce the pulsar damage. So let's take a look at all of this in-game. Oracles, zap some stuff. Let's see. You're gonna notice, you know, shit still dies really fast. A hatchery has 1 armor, right? You know, it's like, okay, cool. That's nice and all. But when you get up to +3 carapace, suddenly the oracles are going to do a bit less damage. An oracle does 15 damage, 25 versus light. Say you've got queens with a couple carapace upgrades, it goes from 15 damage a shot to 12. It's a nerf. It's a meaningful yet relatively small nerf. The stasis wards, of course, now expiring and not being used on eggs this big as well. Come drop a stasis on Eon Blue's natural.
Engineering at your command.
So he's going to come show us that while we talk about the other changes. So there's been a few other changes with shield battery while we look at this one. Range is being increased on the shield battery from 4 to 6, just so that it can reach a little bit of a wider area. And stasis on the lava. Yeah. You're going to see this isn't going to set off the lava anymore. Activate them with drones. You know, yeah. There we go. I don't know why I keep writing stasis. My brain is special this morning. I know how to type. I know how to spell things. Yeah. So they've also increased the starting energy on the shield battery a lot. So this is kind of cool. That's not going to affect your cocoons, your eggs at all anymore. Okay. Shield battery time. Show us those batteries in action. Infested Terran them. So shield batteries, guys, now only have 100 energy, not 200 max, but they spawn at max energy. Now what this means is you can build shield batteries in response to a push. You see someone all-inning you, they're going to pop out at maximum strength, but it means that if you're turtling with them into carriers or something like that, you've got half the overall utility from each shield battery, which is amazing, because these were really powerful against, yeah, these were very, very powerful against the, you know, mass carrier styles, just turtling, sitting there, doing all that stuff. It was kind of gross. So I like this. Now the shield battery, it reaches a little bit further. It's not this... It used to be about the range a roach could shoot. Now it's like a little bit further that it can actually heal. You throw a bunch down at your third when you see a push coming, it buys you some time. You throw a few at your natural as the Zerg's all-inning you and trying to break your wall, they're going to get time to finish, and they're going to have enough energy to actually heal your shit. This is a cool little change. This is what I actually advocated in terms of the increased range, increased starting energy. But the fact that they also, the balance team was smart enough to also lower the maximum energy shows they were thinking a step ahead there into late-game problems that might actually happen. So beyond that, we've got Adept Shade. Now, this is one which I can't actually show right now since I'm not playing Protoss, but the sight has increased from 2 to 4. Adepts are going to have a bit more vision again. I don't think this is nearly as much vision as they used to have, but they are going to have just a little bit more scouting power now. I think this is cool. They justified this change by saying, hey, there's no more Mothership Core scouts. You know, that people used to scout in PvP with Mothership Core, that sort of thing. This way, the Adept has a little bit more scouting utility. Honestly, with the hit point nerf that went through last year to the Adept, or earlier this year, whenever it was, I don't think there's any problem with this. I think this is fine. I think this will be a really nice change. Beyond that, Viper Parasitic Bomb has been reduced from 180. All right, PB. PB on the Oracles. They've reduced the damage on PB, Parasitic Bomb, or on me, to 120. Before that, it was at 180. So a single Parasitic Bomb here would have killed every single Raven. Instead, you see, it's put them all on 20 hit points, except the ones that were already damaged. Now, for you guys who haven't been keeping up to date with the changes, you just killed all my shit. Let me bring my Reaper over to see stuff. For you guys who haven't been up to date with the changes, there is a 1-second delay from when Parasitic Bomb lands now to when it starts dealing damage. However, it doesn't stack anymore. So what you've got now is they've lowered it from triple the damage to what it used to do to double, 120 rather than 60. And it's still effective by all means, but it's not quite as damaging as before. Whereas previously you could drop a single Parasitic Bomb. If your opponent doesn't split, it would wipe out a flock of Ravens, a flock of Oracles, or a flock of Vikings, anything like that. It was super powerful. I don't know. I think this is an okay change. I think it was a little bit too powerful before. Oh my god, there's stasis wards everywhere, aren't there? Look at this Reaper. It must be, right? What the hell? I don't see stasis wards. the fuck is happening to this Reaper?
They're attacking your base, you know.
Oh, there's infestors. Okay. I was like, what the hell? Nice. Oh, and of course, guys, what is the biggest... Oh, there's also a bug fix for Protoss, which we didn't talk about. Stalkers weren't getting the +2 damage per upgrade that they were meant to. They are now always going to get that +2 damage per upgrade. That's been fixed. And the biggest change of all, Overlord time. Look at the Overlord. Oh my god. This is actually the biggest change of them all. The one with the biggest impact. The Overlord has been improved by about 10% movement speed. Look at that Overlord. Still pretty friggin' slow, right? But this is actually to help in Zerg vs Zerg, so Overlords scout the opponent a little bit earlier. See if there's an early pull coming. Fuck off, Reaper. Stop attacking, man. This is a peaceful thing. It's faster than a 75% slowed Raven, as Eon Blue is pointing out. For anyone who didn't actually notice, by the way, this is the new Fungal. It doesn't disable, it just slows your units by 75%. Which is kind of cool. So this is going to make all-ins a little bit less powerful in Zerg vs Zerg. Having that down is going to actually be... Yeah, Overlords are going to scout a little bit easier. I'm sure some Terran and Protoss players will complain that the Overlord scouts a little bit too much easier without the Zerg even having to invest in Overlord speed. We'll have to wait and see exactly how that one works out. For now, guys, that is all the changes. Honestly, I think they're all going in a pretty good direction. Making the Raven a little bit more useful. I was really complaining a lot about Shredder Missile being useless. Oh, I've still got to use Shredder, but I lost all my my Ravens before. Okay, I'll show you guys the new Shredder in just a moment. I was showing Scrambler before. I just forget this ability exists because it was so useless. We'll get enough energy in about 20 seconds. But they're actually going to make the Raven a little bit useful against Zerg, with Scrambler now hitting psionic units, Shredder actually being something which you can cast. Other than that, Repair Drone's a little bit better. The Mule, thank God they fixed that. I played a show match last week, and the big problem I had was I was playing random versus Zerg. Zerg, not much has changed. It's like, you know, Fungal has a bigger AoE, but it also does more, you know, it does a slow rather than a hold. Infestor overall is about the same as where it used to be, maybe slightly better. Viper, single Viper anti-air is a little bit better. All of these little niche things that affect later in the game. But the Mule Nerf was just massive, it was game-breaking, it was kind of terrible. So I was really upset about that after playing a show match and realizing just how much it slowed down a 2-1-1, just how much it slowed down everything. So you see, guys, this fires a lot faster than just a regular Seeker missile. It's only a 1.5 second delay. With a Seeker missile, it used to be a 2.5. And you'll notice these units have -3 armor from that modifier. The actual missile only does 30 damage, which is why it just tickles. So it's still a very niche ability, and honestly, my personal opinion is if they want to make Shredder Missile actually useful at the pro level, you need to lower its cost to about 50 energy, because people are still going to split in that 1.5 seconds. People will easily dodge that ability. Like, that ability just is not that good. So, like, look at this, right? I'm gonna drop a few more. Bam, 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 bam. Wait. Bam, 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 bam. Any pro could easily have dodged that in time. So pros are just going to dodge this too easily, and when you're spending 125 energy on it, it's just not worthwhile. Scrambler Missile is definitely the best ability on the Raven right now, that and Repair Drone. Shredder needs to cost less, or it needs to do more damage or something. Like, the armor modifier is really cool if you land it on a clump of units, but I just think with the way it works, pros will almost always dodge it, and it's just not going to get the armor modifier on very many units. Because of that, if you look at the AoE of it, we'll throw one more. Stay still with the oracles, just in a spread, just like that. Yeah. So you guys want to see the AoE on this? Check it. So if we put that there, I think it'll do about that many units. Let's see. See, so it's decent AoE, but players can spread against that quite quickly. So it's one of these things, it costs so much just to do a bit of an armor modifier, very little actual damage. Maybe you can get away with making this a 75 or 100 energy spell. 125 energy, it's not going to see any use. It's just not good. And here we see the fungal AoE. That is ridiculous. It's only a small boost to the AoE, but it can hit so many units now. Because it's the outside area of that radius, of course, it expands it a lot. All things considered, everything's going in a good direction. I like the shield battery being changed to try and make it more of a stopgap ability, which can help Protoss stay alive in the early game. Parasitic Bomb, going to be a little bit less punishing with that delay. Also doesn't stack, so you can't just drop 5 at once. But a single Viper is still going to be very useful for anti-air, which is very nice. So, oh my god. You guys want to see units die to parasitic fungal? There we go. Thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate the support. I'll bring you guys a whole bunch of games with the new changes, see what I can abuse with them. And, thanks for watching. Neon Blue and Wobulator are just having way too much fun right now playing with these units. I'll see you guys later. Appreciate it. Ciao.